Hello, everybody. This is Blinn College Esports. I'm your host, Doc, and today is Blinn versus South Carolina. We are currently doing on the we are doing Hardpoint. On Blinn, we have Deserve, Munch, West, and Lando. You all on University of South Carolina's Sumter, we got Twitch, Ray Home, and Ghost. Deserve lands the first kill. Lando goes in, but Wes and Bunch get wounded. Lupus has landed so far 2 kills in this match. Lando is getting into a gunfight with Ghost, but thankfully Wes is able to secure the kill. Rayon gets Wes. Deserve is trying to hold a nice angle, manages to get Twitch, but gets stunned, gets pushed from behind, and Rayon secures the kill. Wes pushes in and gets whooped and is now gaining the hard point, but Rayon gets the refrag. Rayon lands another kill, and Blinn is trying to at least cover some ground for the next upcoming area. Lando gets headshot by Deserve, gets Ghost. Twitch gets Deserve, but Munch immediately gets the refrag, but gets eliminated by Rayon. Lando gets Rayon. Lando barely survives that gunfight, and Munch gets in and lands 2 eliminations, but Lando gets headshot by Rayon. Munch is on the outer rim, trying to secure possible flank routes. Munch is getting pushed in, gets eliminated by Twitch. Enemy team has found out the hard point. Wes narrowly wins that gunfight, and Blinn is starting to push out and trying to possibly secure the next hard point when that arrives. And they are holding off the major entryway for it. Munch has so far landed 1 kill, but gets him before any further damage could be done. Deserve gets into a gunfight and narrowly gets Rayon, but gets eliminated by Whoop. Lando gets Twitch and Whoop. Munch is back to the fence, but mostly gets Lando. And Twitch gets Deserve. Munch is pushing in, trying to take back the kitchen. He lands 2 kills, but eliminated by Whoop. Lando gets Twitch, pushes in, gets into a gunfight with 2 more. The Deserve gets a headshot on Ghost. And Whoop. And we have secured the kitchen once more. Rayon gets an elimination on Munch. Wes is now pushing out, trying to secure not 1, but 2 kills. Can he go for the 3rd? But Twitch lands the killing blow. Whoop. Blindsides Deserve. And the next hard point has been captured by the enemy. Wes is being to another gunfight. Not doing so hot. Getting hit by multiple projectiles. Lando pushes in, but just turns very poorly. Rayon is on a multi-kill streak of 3 now. Just absolutely tearing through Blinn's defenses. Deserves trying to push out Whoop. He now knows where Twitch is. Pushes in, but Ghostly is Deserve. Lando, however, was able to get the killing blow, but gets headshot by Rayon. Not looking amazing for Blinn right now. Wes gets Rayon indoors. They are trying to possibly get the next hard point, which they are sitting right on top of right now. They are just watching that sight line, hoping for somebody to push in. Whoop and Twitch get Lando and Deserve. And Wes is just trying to hold down this new objective as much as he can. He's now getting pushed in. Rayon's getting Munch and Wes. Gets Lando and Wes. And Deserve is just trying to push in, but gets eliminated by Whoop. Munch tries to push in and do the same, but it took Wes to eliminate Whoop. They have now gotten back to objective, but Blinn's still at over a 50-point disadvantage. Whoop gets West. Bars so far being held down pretty well. Munch gets Whoop, who had a clever little angle, and it's just trying to rat out anybody who's nearby. Deserve changes altitude, hopefully able to get the drop on somebody. Munches up close and personal with somebody soon. Manages to get the kill on Ghostly after Ghost got Deserve, but Rayon got Munch. West got Whoop, and Lando's pushing out. Hopefully getting a refrag for what happened to West. It's not looking too great for him. Hopefully a nice advantage change will do, but Twitch manages to get him. But West gets not only Ghost, but also, and Munch gets Twitch in return. West get a nice headshot on Rayon. And Blinn's starting to catch up. They now only have a 60-point disadvantage. West swaps out, grabbing one of their rifles, hopefully trying to get a bit more of a nicer range for him. Munch gets Rayon, and they are just trying to secure that outer line for the objective, getting into smaller gunfights. West gets a nice penetration shot, and Munch gets Ghostly. And Blinn is getting ready for the next objective, but the enemy team is pretty well crowded around it, and they now grabbed it. Blinn is at a 40-point disadvantage and is not looking great for them. One of our teammates just popped Ghost. West gets Twitch, but Lando gets eliminated. Munch is going on a drop kill spree, and Deserve gets in for a nice final kill. Blinn is catching up when it comes to points, is looking great right now. Ghost gets West. Munch is getting pushed in. We just lost the objective. Deserve getting 2 rapid kills, but is getting pushed in. But just did not have the time that he needed. West is trying to hold down the objective as the boundaries start to shift. Rayon and Twitch eliminate Deserve and West. Munch is pushing in and is about to get into a gunfight with Twitch. Almost got the kill, but Twitch got the headshot beforehand. Whoop, gets the kill on Lando. West is just running as much as he can downrange. He manages to get Whoop. He manages to get Ghostly. He is now on point against Rayo. Deserve is pushing in and almost gets Rayo, but thankfully Lando secures the refrag. Lando's just holding down as much as he can. He has his defense makes up. West narrowly gets that kill. Pops Ghost, and he's now trying to possibly get a flank on the resurrected team. Blinn is at 30-point disadvantage. Not looking amazing, but not looking terrible. They are pushing towards the next anchor, but Munch and West get eliminated. Deserve, however, gets the refrag for them and is just trying to push in, but ADS is not letting any of their projectiles in. Whoop and Rayo just keeping a nice perimeter around their objective. Lando gets Rayo, and Munch gets a penetration, and we are getting back to the kitchen, but enemies just grouped up heavily on it and just was not enough people on the site to capture. Blinn's pushing back in. They reclaimed it, but soon their objective is going to be shifted. Doesn't look great for Blinn. West manages to get Twitch, but he has to be careful about Rayo, who's about to be pushing in. Deserve gets Rayo, and are just trying to secure this outer perimeter. Gets into a gunfight, loses Whoop. West gets Twitch, but gets pushed in return. Munch is just trying to run in, hopefully able to get something, but just gets hit by his gun. And that is when goes to South Carolina with a 60-point lead. Not a great start for Blinn, but hopefully they can learn from this one and perhaps learn how this ending really works and use that to their advantage. We'll go to break. We shall be right back. Hello, everybody. We are back. We are currently 1-0. Blinn being the 0, sadly, the situation. We are currently on Search and Destroy right now, and Blinn is going to be our first defense, or our first attack. Munch picks up the bomb, incoming nades this direction. Really common sight to see. Munch is getting a couple hits on by Twitch, manages to secure the kill on Twitch, and is trying to perhaps get a nice advantage kill, but just doesn't land the hit. Rayo gets the sniper shot on Lando. Deserve is just playing up high, hopefully able to get the drop on somebody. Ghostly and the enemies are just trying to pull down the sight lane, but West manages to get both of them, leaving all that is left is the enemy sniper. Rayo is going to be pushing up soon, pushing up B, is gonna have a sight line soon on A. Blinn has to be careful. The sniper hits hard, and they're already down a teammate. Blinn's working down the timer with 25 seconds left. Munch is about to get into gunfight soon and gets the kill. First round goes to Blinn. We are going to be swapping over to defense. But a nice usage of recoil, landing that final headshot. And we are defending. We are pushing in right now. Twitch has the bomb. And Rayo somehow gets Lando at the beginning of the map. Deserve gets Ghostly, but Twitch gets Munch. Deserve gets Twitch, but Wook gets a West in return. Deserve is the person remaining. He gets Wook, and he's now having to deal with just Rayo. But that bolt action can hurt like no other. And just runs right into their sight line. Not a good look for Blinn right now. It is 1-1. They picked up their teammate's SMG and just lit up into his dirt before he could even notice. Blinn's back on the fence. Hopefully they don't run into that sight line like they did in the beginning. Lando really needs to be careful about that, especially since Rayo seems to be quite the confident sniper. Lando misses the shot, trying to push it back up, lands his shot, but isn't enough to kill them, and it's just trying to hopefully get that final hit, but just gets eliminated. Twitch gets Munch. West and Deserve are the last people remaining with only one kill in the enemy team. Not exactly the black eye that Blinn needs. Deserves pushing in through the back. Has to be really careful about Twitch. West pushes in, gets Twitch, jumps down, and is now trying to push in, or at least keep a nice eye on B. West is planting, has to be really careful right about now. Rayo is going to get a sight line really soon. And I don't think Rayo is going to fall for the same trick twice. Deserve is trying to keep an eye out for Wook, who's now pushing in. Just not. Gets pushed in. Rayo eliminates them with the pistol, and Wook gets Deserve with the rifle. Not looking amazing for Blinn. And just running down the timer, not really diffusing. Now Wook is diffusing. But perhaps maybe, but it doesn't look like it. They had a safe diffusing. Not great for Blinn. Though the sniper pick, I would say, is always a good one. Blinn's just not doing so well against Rayo. I really think they should probably drop their losses and maybe just work a bit more on their rifles. Summit is now the offense, and Blinn is now defending. Lando and Rayo are doing their usual dance, but Lando did not notice where Rayo went, and Rayo now has a height advantage that will prove to be deadly soon. Wes and Lando and Deserve are the only ones on. No, because Wes and Deserve are the only ones on site. Who is eliminated? Deserve manages to get Twitch, but gets eliminated by Ghost. Lando finally lands the sniper kill that he's been looking for all match. Pops Ghost, hopefully trying to get a new snipe line. Manages to slightly sneak by, but not really the weapon I think he needs. He has to play this really, really carefully. And it's just overestimating the enemy's sight lines. Gets pushed in and just gets killed by the enemy. Blinn is down 2 rounds. Not looking great for Blinn. Rayo landing the necessary pistol shots that they needed. Blinn's now back on the offense. Hopefully, it'll prove to be a lot better this time. Blinn just needs to probably push B, would be my recommendation, because the enemy team is definitely holding down A a lot better. Lando is getting into the fight, but is just not winning. Deserve needs to be careful about Twitch. Munch gets ghostly, but Deserve is just not looking out for Twitch. Pushing. Rayo gets Lando, but Deserve manages to get Twitch. Munch pops Ghost, has his ADS down, getting ready for who is holding down the sight line for B, and Rayo is starting to push in. Sight lines really locked in. Whoop gets West. Deserve is the last one. He has to be careful. He has to play this absolutely safe. Enemy Rayo probably has a SMG or a rifle now, which not amazing. Deserve pops Ghost. He's going to be entering Whoop sightline. He gets Whoop. He's planting at B, proving a new choice. Gets into a gunfight. It's not looking great for him. He's just moving around, hopefully getting the drop on him. Recovering his HP. He's behind him. And he lands all the shots. Wins that round. Blinn's now 2-3. Absolutely beautiful play there. Not the most elegant when it came to intel use, but it managed to work out, which is all that we really need. Blinn's now back on the defense. Hopefully, we can keep up this win streak, or keep up the ball that we're rolling right now. We rush in. Twitch gets bombed. Lando and Rayo just do their usual sniper dance. Lando gets hit. Whoop gets West. Lando gets Rayo this time. And is hoping that he can probably get another kill. Not aware of the enemy that is right behind him. He's trying to hold down a sight line that is just not being pushed. Enemy is completely flooding A. Lando is keeping a sight line. Munch is trying to slowly push in. It's going to be getting into a gunfight with Whoop and Ghostly really soon. Meanwhile, Lando's probably going to be hit facing Twitch. Ghostly pushes out. Lando gets Ghostly. Buzz gets eliminated by Whoop, who was upstairs. Munch is the last one alive. Enemy team needs to start planting if they want to run down this timer. He sets in the frag and manages to delay the plant even further, leaving Whoop the last one, who now has to push down and grab the bomb if he wants to plant. Munch is trying to get a slightly odd angle and manages to get Whoop. And now just has to defuse the bomb. A really, really close match for Blinn, that one, but it worked out for him. A nice play by Munch. We are now 3-3. Just 3 more wins for Blinn, and we will be 1-1. Oh. We are now on the offense again, and West grab spawn. They are entering the frag zone. Lando is taking a bit more of a peculiar approach. West and Deserve are at objective A and eliminate 3 enemies now. Leaving Rayo left. Now having a 1v4. Rayo gets Lando, Munch pushes in, and lands the kill. An absolute devastating push by Blinn. Beautifully executed, too. Now back to defense for Blinn. Blinn really is doing a decent job at keeping on A, but they need to really consider enemies pushing B, which it looks like they're now doing this time. That ADS a little late, but it's better than nothing. Munch is pushing B, or holding down B. Enemies don't know he's there, and he's just holding down that time as much as he can. He gets twitched, but immediately runs into Whoop. Ghostly now on, leaving Deserve left, having to deal with Ghost and Whoop. They have planted on objective B. Whoop, unfortunately, had the range advantage. Landed more shots than what we could have in that situation. Not great for Blinn. But Blinn's back on the offense. Hopefully this will do better than last round. We are now 4-4. And we will start pushing right now. West grabs bomb, and they are just tossing as much as they can towards objective A, just to put them in a slight disadvantage. Twitch is slowly pushing in A. West has to be careful about that. And Ghostly is flanking right behind. He's about to get into a gunfight with Lando, if they're not careful about this. Munch pushes up, but gets eliminated quickly by Rayo. Lando gets Ghostly and are holding down objective A. We're trying to keep their sight line. But Blinn is wasting a whole lot of precious time. Lando gets the nice grenade kill on Whoop, and West is now starting to plant, leaving him a tiny bit open to Twitch being able to push right now, and Rayo just has that sight line on, which won't be that great in the long term. Deserves pushing back in. Lando's holding a higher up position, hopefully getting Twitch when he pushes in. Rayo and Twitch are now tag team together. They gotta be careful about that back flank. West turns around, has his attention now to his upcoming opponent. Jumps up, but it didn't matter because we pushed in faster. Blinn now just needs one more, and Deserve with his old move wins that round. Blinn needs to be really careful with this next match, because if they don't, it will be a tied game, and Blinn so far does not do great on the defensive role. Twitch grabbed the bomb. Munch is pushing objective B, trying to get a nice angle, gain advantage. Deserve gets Ghostly, but Twitch gets Deserve. But West gets Twitch. Lando gets eliminated by Whoop. But West gets Whoop. And a quick match by Blinn. Holy. The secured win that we needed. Absolutely devastating that last match. Holy cow. We are now 1-1, people. Beautiful, beautiful execution. We shall be right back. We'll see you next match. We are back. Blinn is now 1-1 with South Carolina. We are currently on control. A bit of a slow start, but any second now. There. The match will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blinn pushes in and is going for B. Meanwhile, the other two push in for A. Wes and Whoop are B. Gunfight. But Whoop pushes out. Munch gets the first kill on Twitch, but Ghostly gets Munch. Deserve pushes in. Wes manages to get Whoop and is getting into a gunfight with Ghostly. The two are just barely out of sight of each other, but it does not work out. Deserve is now pushing back in, hopefully trying to gain back to the sight line. Whoop gets West. Deserve is heavily injured. Munch gets Whoop, and they are pushing in hard, but not enough. Blinn looks like they have to cut their losses and try to defend 8 with the little time that they got. Whoop. West gets Whoop, but has to destroy his ADS. Not best. Lando and Deserve gets Ghostly and Rayo. Twitch gets Munch. Lando gets Twitch. Whoop lands a headshot on Lando, but Blinn is keeping objective A relatively safe and keeping a nice parameter around it, keeping that much needed distance between them at the end. Deserve gets Rayo, Twitch gets Deserve, Lando gets Ghostly, and is now getting pushed in by Twitch. Has to be careful about that sight line. Gets ADS ready, but just drops his weapon as soon as he's getting West gets Ghost, Whoop gets West. Munch is just trying to hold on as much as he can on the site. It's getting pushed in behind him. Rayo gets Munch. Lando gets Whoop, and Blinn needs to come back hard on their objective. Deserve gets Rayo. Blinn and Whoop get West and Lando. Deserve is pushing in, getting Whoop and Ghost. Munch gets Twitch, and they secure the objective once more. Deserve pops Ghost, and slowly just trying to creep in, hopefully getting a nice drop on the end. Deserve gets a nice sneak attack on Rayo, and Munch just sprays down, but doesn't secure a kill. Not looking great, and just turns around as the enemy team pushes him. Munch. Twitch gets Lando. Deserve gets Twitch. Deserve also gets Rayo. Blinn just needs to work down these last few seconds, but the enemy team has got onto site. Blinn needs to push right now. But West gets Ghost. Timer's running down. 15 seconds left. They just got to keep that distance, which they are doing amazing. The closest enemy right now is only Twitch, and he's the only one left alive. But Deserve gets him. Blinn wins. A nice win for Blinn right there. All right, now we are on the offense this time. Blinn is now splitting off into pairs of 2 and are just trying to hopefully get a drop on objectives. Munch gets a nice headshot on the and are now pushing in to capture B. At entirety of Blinn just stacking themselves onto the Munch gets Twitch. West gets Rayo. And then again, is now in a gunfight with Whoop, but does not work out for him. Whoop is now pushing out, trying to get Deserve, but Deserve gets Whoop and Ghostly, but Twitch gets Munch, and Rayo gets Deserve. Lando gets Twitch and Rayo in return, holding down the objective. Munch gets Whoop and also, but gets refragged by Ghost. Deserve gets Twitch, though, and is just holding out this parameter. They have to be careful about objective A, which they're not minding too much about. Deserve gets 2 rapid, but Ghostly gets Munch. Ghost also gets a nice sneak attack on Wes. Munch pops Ghost, hopefully trying to get Ghost himself. That's almost got him, but Rayo got him in return. Wes gets Whoop and Rayo. Lando gets Ghost, but Twitch gets Lando. And Blinn is just capturing the zone, keeping that parameter safe away from the enemy. An amazing effort by Blinn with a minute on the timer. The enemy is just struggling to even get a foot on the objective, but Ghost comes in from the back, but Lando gets Ghostly, and another win for Blinn on top of that. Beautifully, beautifully done once again. Just wonderful execution by Lando. It is now 0-2. Can Blinn keep this final defensive line up for their final match? We'll find out right now. Their average split off once again. Looks like Munch and Wes are going to be getting into a gunfight with Whoop. And meanwhile, Deserve and Lando are getting a lot more than they bargained for right now. Whoop lands the first kill. Ghost gets Munch. Deserve pops Ghost and is just pushing in with his teammate. Lando gets eliminated, but Deserve gets a nice kill on Rayo, but gets eliminated by Twitch. Wes gets Ghostly. They have to push in to hopefully stop this progression, but it does not look like Blinn's able to step on the point. They now have to deal with 2 minutes on objective A, the kitchen. Enemy team is pushing onto Lando and Deserve. Wes gets Whoop. Munch gets Rayo, but is heavily injured from that gunfight. Munch manages to get Ghostly, but Twitch just gets him while mid-reload. Lando's holding down a nice angle, gets Ghostly with a nice knife kill, but it's getting fragged out. Twitch gets Munch. Blinn is still holding out on the kitchen. Last is getting pushed in. Not a great look for Blinn. Deserve gets a nice surprise attack, but he has to push in really soon. He gets Twitch, but Rayo gets him. Enemy team has secured the bar. But we have a AC-130 inbound, but it's just not hitting the angle that it needs. And that is a win for Sumter. Not great for Blinn. Just got divided in attack. But Blinn still has the win advantage. Hopefully they can keep this up. And we will have to be on the offense this time. We'll see our usual split-ups. Deserve and Lando. Meanwhile, Wes and Munch go in and push B. They know Whoop is right there, but Munch gets Whoop with a nice frag, but Rayo gets Lando in return. Rayo also gets Munch and Twitch gets West, but Deserve was able to get Ghostly beforehand. Blinn needs to be careful about these really fragile sites that they're trying to hold. Rayo has now gotten 5 enemies in a row. Lando is not able to secure a kill. Rayo gets West. Deserve grabs one of his teammates' rifle and Munch gets Rayo, but Oop gets Munch in return. Deserve is trying to get another elimination. Twitch gets Lando, however. Deserve gets Rayo, but Ghostly just attacked right behind him. Ghostly gets Deserve again. Ghostly gets Lando. Ghostly's just going on the killing spree, but Deserve puts that to an end. Munch gets Twitch, and they are holding down all pretty well right now. They just gotta be careful. West gets Rayo, Whoop gets Deserve, but Lando gets Whoop. And they have secured point A. They now have to push B, which isn't looking too great for them. They do not have life advantage, which will be the big decider in these close matches. Deserve is trying to push in through the building, but gets Ghostly after Ghost got landed. Munch gets Whoop. This probably needs to turns around. He knows Twitch is right there. Gets a nice headshot on Twitch. Nice hip fire. Ghostly is just being pushed out by Blinn, and somehow is able to get out. Rayo gets Munch and West, but Deserve is just going on a tear on his own, but gets stopped by Twitch before it could continue. Munch gets eliminated by Rayo. Lando is getting pushed in really heavily right now. They only have 30 seconds on the timer. Blinn needs to go all out on this final push. But it does not look like it'll be going that way. Deserve gets Whoop. Ghostly gets West. They know that the enemy is near, but they're not playing to commit. Lando gets Twitch. Deserve gets eliminated by Ghost. Whoop gets eliminated by Munch. He is just trying to push, but it's not enough time to land themselves on the point. Another win for Sumter is now 2-2. Whoever wins this next match wins this round. Blinn needs to be extra careful with this final match, but they need to know when to push hard and need to be careful about the sight lines that they are pushing. They are now on defense, so they have to hold down these objectives. Nope, they're still on offense. We see our usual split-offs. And Deserve tosses out as usual, but gets immediately killed off by Ghostly. West gets Whoop, but Whoop gets Munch. Lando gets Rayo, but Ghostly gets Lando. West gets punishes that he gets 3 kills in a row within rapid succession. The rest of Blinn are now pushing up boom except for Lando. They almost got hit by that AC-130. Blinn has now captured objective B. They now have to push in and secure bomb. Ghost gets Munch, Rayo gets West, Twitch got Deserve. Lando gets sadly eliminated by Ghostly. They just need to play this carefully. Deserve gets Rayo. Now pushing in. Ghostly gets Munch and Deserve within rapid succession. Blinn trying to push through, but they had to be careful about Ghost's highly aggressive team. Ghost's now on a 5 kill streak. but the Zerg gets glitched. And a gunfight with Whoop makes him push out and narrowly secures the kill on Ghostly punishes Lando's overconfident push and gets munched. But West puts that rain to an end, and they are securing bar. West gets Rayo. Rest of Blinn are now pushing in, keeping a parameter up. And they secure the objective. The Blinn's now 1-2 right now. Amazing play. Amazing play by Blinn. Greatly executed by Lando in that final moment. We'll be right back. We are back. We are 1-2. Blinn being the 2, thankfully. This is hopefully going to be our last match for the day, and we will secure the victory at any cost necessary. Don't ask me what I mean by that. But anyways, we are currently doing a hardpoint match, and we are now rushing off. Munch is about to potentially get into a gunfight with Rayo. Lando gets the first kill on Ghostly. Munch gets Rayo, and Lando gets Whoop. And then Twitch on top of that. He needs to watch his backfire. Wes gets Rayo and Whoop. They are just going on a killing spree right now, holding down this objective. Rayo and Whoop are the closest ones, and they have now touched the point. Lando and Munch have got Rayo. Lando has got a clever fight on Twitch, but Wes manages to secure the kill. Hardpoint has now shifted and just are holding down this parameter like no tomorrow. Blinn already having a 10-point lead. Blinn now has the hard point back and are just making a nice little parameter around this area for 388. Wes gets Whoop, Deserve gets Rayo and Ghostly. Just an absolute beautiful demonstration of Blinn's strength. They grab the hard point, but Deserve gets Ghost and re-secures the point. And Clayton's about to be shifting in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Lando is now getting pushed. He's now probably going to get into a gunfight with 3 enemies. Rayo gets Wes, Twitch gets Lando, Deserve gets Rayo, in return Munch gets Whoop, Ghostly gets Deserve, Wes gets Ghostly. Blinn needs to push towards this hard point if they want to secure this victory. Deserve gets Twitch, but Rayo gets the refrag. They are just throwing down as many ADSs as possible. Lando gets a nice one on Rayo. Whoop gets Wes and Lando gain their objective once more. Munch is going for a swim, trying to get a nice sneak attack, and gets a nice ambush on Twitch. Deserve gets Ghostly, and Lando gets Rayo. Wes gets Whoop, and the hardpoint has shifted, and Blinn is just right on its doorstep. Lando's now holding out a nice sight line further out. Lando gets Ghostly. Whoop gets Lando. Twitch pops out of the water and gets Deserved. Blinn is starting to get a couple of holes in its armor and are starting to slightly get divided amongst each other. Again, Rayo gets Wes and Munch, but Deserve gets Rayo and punishes Ghost while he's at it. And they now have the hard point once again. Hard point is going to be swapping over in a couple of moments. Deserve going for another swim, hopefully pushing out in a much more unexpected sightline. Rayo gets Lando. Deserve is just hanging out at the water ledge. Wes pushes in and gets eliminated by Ghost. Deserve pops out, but immediately goes back in. Munch gets Whoop and gets hit. Wes gets Ghost and almost gets Twitch, but Munch gets Twitch in return. Lando gets Rayo. Ooh, gets Lando. And Blinn is holding its own again. They now have almost a 40-point lead. The fight is now contested. Munch is the only one who gets eliminated by Whoop. Deserve pushes in but gets hit by Twitch. And Blinn's now trying to rush over to get this next upcoming effect. Lando's getting a height advantage, gets Rayo. Maybe he'll get a nice elimination on Ghost. Deserve gets Whoop. And Blinn's now pushing in to get the hard sight. And it just keeps on going. It's just blow after blow. Munch gets Rayo. Whoop gets Munch. Lando had a higher up advantage point, but drops down and is gonna get attacked by Ghost. But West somehow got Ghost. Or Lando got Ghost. West headshots Whoop. Munch is pushing in. Deserve gets Twitch, and they get their hard point back. They gotta keep an eye on that window. Whoop headshots Munch. Deserve hard point gets shifted back again, but Blinn is already on the next hard point. They just need to get these final few points, and it'll be Blinn that Blinn would love to have. Deserve gets Whoop. West gets Ghostly. Deserve pops Ghost. West gets Rayo and grabs his weapon while he's at it. Twitch pushes in West, however. Deserve has a nice ambush and gets Whoop. Lando is getting into another fight. Thankfully, he has two rifles because one never enough. But it's not enough in this situation. West is now pushing out. It's not in the most ideal of situations. He's trying to get back to his teammates. Lando gets Whoop. But Ghostly gets Deserve, Twitch gets Lando, and Blinn loses advantage on aim for second. Deserve gets rid of the ADS, throws a frag, and gets the kill, however, getting killed in the process. Munch is going in for his always lovely to see stealthy swim. And has an advantage, but gets pushed in by Ghost. West got eliminated. Lando gets in for the refrag. Nobody has hardpoint right now. Blinn snags hardpoint back again. Twitch gets him, but Blinn's still just keeping dominance on this objective. And just the last few points are needed right now. We are almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Hardpoint is swapping over. Lando is close to it, but Twitch secures it before they can. West gets Whoop, but Twitch gets Deserve. West is pushing in, but gets eliminated by Ghost. Munch is aware of where Rayo is, but can't capitalize on it. This final objective is just being ridden with the enemy. Deserve pushes in, but gets eliminated by Whoop. They climb up, and West gets Whoop in return, and is now trying to hold down this upcoming sightline. Deserve gets Twitch, and is about to get pushed in right now, but is now pushing closer to the enemy spawn. Gets Rayo somehow. Amazing play, but is getting shot while he makes his cover getaway. Lando pushes in and gets Whoop, and hardpoint gets captured by Ghostly. Generator building just seems to be his domain. Blinn is having issues pushing in. Whoop gets West after West gets Twitch, but Munch gets him. Deserve pushes in and is getting a nice parameter, gets Ghostly and Rayo. Gotta watch out for that frag. About to get pushed in by Twitch. Eliminates Twitch. Now getting pushed in from his blind side. Munch gets Rayo. Ghostly gets Deserve. Munch gets a nice pistol kill on Ghostly. And securing these last few moments, was just firing into a metal door. Blinn needs to be careful. Deserve gets Ghostly, but Rayo gets Deserve. Hardpoint switches over. Enemy team immediately just crowded on him. Lando, what's this? Deserve has the rocket and manages to get 3, well, 2.5 kills. We don't count friendly fire here. Lando gets Ghostly, but gets fragged out. But Blinn wins. A successful victory for Blinn. Amazing, amazing match. As it, folks, is 1-3. Blinn wins this time. Amazing job by Blinn's Call of Duty esports team. We'll have another match at some point. Tune in tomorrow. We are going to have Overwatch, 2 matches of Overwatch. And I thank you for watching. And tune in next time.